Good morning, afternoon, and evening from wherever you are watching from, and welcome to Belinda's Country Living. Today I will be fixing beef stroganoff, and I like to think that it's more of a healthier version because I am omitting the sour cream. I am not a lover of sour cream, nor is my grandchildren. So I always omit the sour cream. So what you're going to be needing is some type of steak. Now I'm using the beef round. Now this is a little tougher meat. So you're either going to have to tenderize it or you let it cook for around an hour and simmer that in gravy or the sauce that you will make. Beef round steak is cut from the rear end of the cow, so that's why it's a little bit tougher. So, again, you will need some sort of steak. You can even use rump roast or whatever meat that you have already prepared. Like if you've done a roast, then use that for your beef stroganoff. You're going to need a cup of chopped onions. You're going to need some butter. You're going to need about 1/4 cup of milk, salt and pepper, olive oil, Worcestershire sauce, never could pronounce that right, Worcestershire sauce, how's that go? And today I am using chicken broth. I usually use beef broth, but I am out. I am using everything here that I received from the food pantry. So, let's get started. Okay, I'm over here at the stove where you can see me do everything. I've got probably maybe 1/4 of a cup or 1/3 cup of flour in a bowl, all-purpose flour. And I'm just going to put some salt and pepper in that flour. Bring you down here. Maybe it's a little bit closer. Give that a good stir. And what we're going to do is we're going to dredge the meat in this flour mixture. I've already got my burner on. It's on a low flame and I'm fixing to turn it up a bit. And I've got a gas stove, so I've got that up on a number 4, and I'm using olive oil, and I'm also to that I'm going to add about a teaspoon of butter to that. Help give it some flavor. Make sure it's good and warm. I don't know about you all, but my skillet's always tin, and this is a Tefal skillet. It just seems like in the middle, it always wants to hump up after you use it a while. And then that way, it makes all your grease or your oil go to one side. I don't like that. So, I have cut my round steak into long strips, and I'm just going to flour them real well. Give it some flavor, and this will also help with your gravy, your sauces that you make. You know, and some people, they use a cheese sauce. They add cheese to their gravy mixture. But this is how I've always done it, and They all love it. So, and when this is halfway through cooking and when I'm going to let this simmer to tenderize, to make the meat more juicier and where you could cut it with a fork, then I will start my noodles. You serve this on top of noodles. I've seen some, just when it's all done, add the cooked noodles to the pot. And I just think I don't like it that way. So, let's go ahead and start adding our meat. I'm using a 12-inch skillet, so I should be able to get all this meat in there. You see what I'm talking about? All that, the oil and the butter wants to go to the side of the pan. That's why I like my iron skillets, but I have a lid for this, so that's why I'm using the non-stick. So yeah, I'm getting all of this meat in this skillet. And I may have to add just a little bit more of the olive oil and the butter, because this flour will soak that up. And that's what I want. This is what's going to give me that good gravy. And you know, if you want, you could even put this flour in a Ziploc bag, throw your strips of meat in there and shake it. I always shake off the excess flour. And you'll cook this for, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes on each side. It doesn't have to be completely done because it will cook in the gravy sauce. And I'm not going to throw this flour mixture away, because I'm going to use that to help thicken up my sauce. I'm over here washing my hands. Hope y'all are having a wonderful day today. I'm always wiping as I make a mess. Get rid of that. Got my water ready for my noodles. Go ahead and turn this. Yeah, you can see it don't take long for this to brown up. It's already smelling really good. Oh yeah. Looking good. When this is finished, I will come back. Okay, so the meat is ready to be taken out of the pan. So we want to remove your round steak strips, and it's okay if it's a little pink. They're brown on both sides, and they're going to cook, like I said, in your gravy or sauce, whatever you want to call it. That made a plate full. So we'll eat on this a couple of days. Now I am going to get a plastic spoon. Now I'm going to add a little bit more of the olive oil. We're going to need that to stir this around. I'm going to add just a little bit more butter to that. There we go. The olive oil, it doesn't burn like your regular vegetable oil, so that's why it's good to use olive oil and put a little butter in it. Okay, now to that, I'm going to add my cup of diced onions. Stir that around. I love to smell onions frying. And I'm also going to add, only because I like garlic, and garlic's good for you, a heaping teaspoon of garlic. Maybe a little bit more. It ain't going to hurt. Little bit more for the road. You're going to stir this for a few seconds until your onions are translucent. You don't want your onions all the way cooked. You don't want them to burn. Stir that around. Oh my. You know, when them kids are back there in their room, one way to get them out of their room is cook something, because they could smell it. And I don't know if you guys got any teenagers, but boy, they can eat. Okay, they're looking good. What do you think, y'all? Looking good? Okay. Now, I am going to add Worcestershire sauce. Where's your sister sauce? Like to shake it? Let's just add a little dab, do ya? Like that. Oh yeah. It's gonna be good, y'all. Now, to that, I'm gonna turn my burner up, and I'm gonna add my flour. Now, if you don't want to use flour, you can use any thickening agent that you like. Just like that. Oh yeah. That's what I like to see. Yeah, you can use cornstarch for thickening, but you don't want to add cornstarch to anything hot. You want to always add your cornstarch to water or milk, and it has to be cold. So now I'm going to add my chicken broth. Now I'm not using a whole carton. I only had half. So that was 32 ounces. So half of 32 ounces, you want to stir this up. You'll see it's going to get thick before you know it. And I am going to use my little spatula to break that up. And no, I am not scratching my pan. I'm using the back side of the spatula. Right there. And like I said, I usually use beef broth, but I don't have any. I'm using what I was blessed with from the food pantry. Oh yeah. I'm telling you, this is going to be good. Now, I'll tell you what, I'm going to start adding the beef strips back in to this. It will continue to thicken. Now, chicken broth, when you use chicken broth, it's going to make your sauce a lighter color. And your beef broth will have a darker color. But we can fix that. You can always make your gravy darker. You could add kitchen bouquet to this. And I might just do that to give it a little more of a darker beef color. So, we are going to let this simmer. I am going to cover this. Yeah. And you can see that's already starting to thicken up. And you will have to watch this because it may get too thick on you and you'll have to add some more liquid. And that is what I have this milk for. We're going to put that milk in there. This is pretty much going to substitute the sour cream. Oh, this is going to be good, y'all. Oh, yeah. So, I'm going to cover this, and this is going to cook on medium high for about an hour. This is going to cook for about an hour, and that will tenderize that meat. So it's been around 15 minutes, and now I'm going to stir this around, and you can see how the sauce, the gravy, has thickened up. Now, I want this to be a little bit more thinner because this still has a long ways to cook, so the meat will be tenderized So I'm going to add some more chicken broth to this. I'll add a little bit at a time, because I want to check this about every 15 minutes. And you know, you could also fix this in a crock pot and let it cook overnight or on high for about 4 hours, and you don't have to mess with it. But I don't want to do that. I want dinner like tonight. So you can see how the chicken broth has really thinned that out some, because you want your meat to be covered in this sauce. Okay, we're going to let that cook for another 15 minutes and we'll check it. Okay, so we are right about 30 minutes of the meat cooking in the gravy. Now I'm going to get rid of this lid. My lid was just a tad bit too small for this skillet. We'll set that aside. And you can see the gravy is a little thick. The longer you cook this, the thicker it gets. But I'm going to show you how we're going to fix this. But right now, I need to drain my noodles. Got to get them out of there. We don't want these noodles to get soggy. So what I'm going to do, because I want my gravy to be a little on the thin side, I'm going to add a little bit more of the chicken broth to this. And I know a lot of you out there will probably like the thick gravy, but by making it a thinner gravy or sauce, it's going to go much further. And like I said, we'll eat on this today, and we'll also eat on this tomorrow, maybe for lunch. I don't waste nothing. The meat appears to be very tender, but I'm going to check it out for y'all, and we'll see. Because this was a tougher meat, it has to be cooked longer. And as you can see, I sliced right through that. See that? Yes. So it's done. So all in all, this took around 30 minutes. But you have to keep it covered. You have to keep stirring it, mixing it well. And now that's ready to be spreaded on top of the noodles. And we are going to have some buttered peas and some buttered bread. So let me dish this up and we'll do a taste test. Okay, I've got the beef stroganoff plated up, and I'm going to do a taste test for you. Look at that, y'all. Now keep in mind that this beef stroganoff, if you're using a higher cut piece of meat, it doesn't take long at all to have dinner ready. But because I used the round beef, it's a lot tougher. So it took right at 30 minutes covered up in order for the meat to tenderize. So let's taste. Do you want a bite? Okay. I wish y'all could have a bite of this. It's very, very good. The meat is very tender. But I will have to warn you, when you're using beef broth or chicken broth, it has a lot of sodium in it. So back off on your salt. You really shouldn't even salt your meat or anything, because the sodium that's already in the broth is going to make it very salty. That's what I am telling you. It is a little on the salty side. But the meat, very, very tender. And it had to be good because, turn you around here. I want you to look at Dylan's plate. He's already got it ate. Now, I'll tell you, these kids, they don't know how to enjoy their food. They devour it really quick. They must swallow it whole. Very good. Y'all gotta try this recipe. And as always, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe. And if you're new to my channel, I want to welcome you to my YouTube family. I appreciate each and every one of you. Love your comments. Keep them coming in. Until the next video, y'all be safe, be warm. Today here in Indiana, it did reach 40 degrees, which was really good. So, I was happy for that. And as always, be kind in your words and remember, God loves you. And so do I.